And hello, everyone. Hope y'all enjoyed our new intro. A little bit more dynamic, I guess would be the word, more activity in it. So, hoping y'all are enjoying that. Of course, it is a very stormy day here in Houston. Have to say, I heard thunder a little bit ago, but sounds like it's calming down. But it's supposed to be like this all day today here. But we're here with Jennifer Lieberman. So, hi, Jennifer. How are you?
Hi, Greg. I am well. How are you?
Pretty good. Busy year already for 2023.
Fantastic.
And I know you have a bunch of books that you have out, and you've actually did performing for one of them, if I'm correct.
Yes. Yeah. They're all kind of linked to my film/theater career. So I guess it all started off when I decided to write myself a one-woman show. And I had just moved to LA. I had been acting in Toronto and New York. And I met a woman at a creative workshop. Her husband owned an agency, and she suggested I write myself a vehicle such as a one-woman show. I was a writer and a performer, and basically create a vehicle that I could invite industry to showcase my work and show them like, hey, I exist and this is what I can do. So I had produced theater for a while. I had run a little theater company in the East Village in New York, developing new pieces. I had been doing that for a few years in New York, and I had produced a couple of one-woman shows once I moved to LA, coincidentally, never with the intention of doing my own. I was just helping out friends from acting class because they were working on pieces and I thought they were great. And I wanted to like help them, get their stuff up because that was a skill that I had that a lot of my fellow actors didn't have. The fact that I could produce, that was like a huge skill that I could bring to the table. So fast forward, 6, 8 months after I had produced these other two one-woman shows, I decided to like do my own. And I end up, the industry that I hoped to come in LA doesn't end up coming. But for the first time in my creative life, I felt fulfilled because I wasn't running around trying to get the audition, trying to get the role, trying to get the agent, trying to get the job, trying to get the foot in the door. I took a chunk of time out of my life, scheduled and focused to work on something as if someone had hired me to do it. Sure, I had written scripts on my own before, but I had never undertaken an entire production. I had produced other people's works. So it was a little daunting, to say the least. And like I said, the goals that I had for that particular, endeavor didn't really come to fruition. But I realized that like, wow, I'm writing every day. I'm working on these characters every day. I'm working on my acting every day. I'm pushing myself further than anyone who had hired me had ever pushed me, because I was literally creating this piece to show like my Olympic performance of, of what I'm made of. That's the best way to describe it. So that's kind of how it all began. And then, I'll kind of jump over to like the highlights, and then we can kind of track back if, to see if there's anything you wanted to go back to. Is that cool? Should we go?
That'll work. So your Olympic performance, did you give yourself a gold medal for that?
So basically I continued on like any athlete, you're not always going to be successful when you start out, especially your first time. So that was my first competition, let's call it. And I'm using the analogy of athletics because I used to be a gymnast and I used to train in a competitions, so like I wasn't just trying to do a play. I was trying to show that I'm a good writer and I could be funny and I can get people emotional and I could take them on a journey, but I could also fulfill all the roles necessary and kind of tailored the roles to stretch myself in all these different directions. I played 10 characters. So, I didn't quite get the response I wanted, but like I said, for the first time, I was like, oh my God, like I'm proving to myself that like I'm really made for this. So I get into a festival in New York. The show goes to New York. Like I keep workshopping it in LA. I do it a few more times in front of an audience because without the audience, you don't know how you're doing. Like I can think I'm great. My director can think I'm great, but you really got to get people in there as you're developing this stuff. So we go to New York. I win the Audience Choice Award at the festival that I'm in. So that I guess I got a gold medal.
There you go.
People, because the title was Year of the Slut, which was very kind of racy and provocative. So that helped me get butts in seats, as I call it, in the theater. And then people were hearing the title that hadn't even seen the show, and they're like, that would be a great chick lit novel. Like, you've got to write that novel. Like, just from the title alone, it would fly off the shelves. So, okay, so I'm trying to be an actor. I'm trying to like establish myself as an actor and get this career off the ground, and then I pivot and take some time to decide, okay, I'll write this. I already have the play, so it's already kind of written and I'll just kind of adapt it into a novel. So I did. That took me 2 months. It didn't take that much time. Then let's just call it several years of trying, failing, quitting, going back, trying, failing, quitting, going back, trying, failing, and then just self-publishing. Meanwhile, every time I quit, I would continue creating my own productions as a performer. So doing web series, doing several short films, going to international film festivals. So never stopping with that. And just kind of like every so often, every couple of years, someone would be like, whatever happened with that book? So 2018, finally just publish the book, bite the bullet, do it on my own. Don't go through publish it traditional pub. The title is the biggest caveat because all the bots block it from everything. So I can have it on Amazon, but I can't advertise it on Amazon. I can have a post about it on Instagram, but I can't buy any ads. So basically I'm stuck in my circle, or, in this bubble of only people who know me can access the posts. So it's a year of publicists not wanting to work with me, like the word slut. And also the show was done before Me Too. The book was published after Me Too. The climate had changed. The woke culture, has emerged at this point. So I decided to change the title. That's basically what happens. And since the title has changed, the book became a #1 bestseller and has won 5 literary awards, including the gold medal at the Global Book Awards. So it's so funny you mentioned the gold medals, because it's like, and a bronze. They sent me like an actual bronze medal, the IPPES, Independent Publishing Awards. So that's kind of like one side of the story. The other side of the story is, after I do my one-woman show, and it has the success in New York and stuff, I realize I have, and all the while I've still been producing other people's projects. That's how I was making a living, as an independent short film, music video, indie theater producer. So basically I started this company. I after the one-woman show, even though it was successful, I was still like, I don't know where my life is going or my career is going. So I took a bunch of business courses And basically one of the courses was talking about how everybody's kind of an expert at something. And there's, you know, you can use your skills to help other people. And I was like, oh, wow, I could really help other struggling actors and writers figure out how to get vehicles off the ground, you know, to get themselves a little, you know, some notoriety to like get started. Or even people who are kind of stagnant in their career, create a vehicle for yourself, show yourself in a different role, in a different light. You know, it doesn't have to be a big blockbuster film. You can make a short film, go to some festivals, network with people. There are other avenues. So that's how Make Your Own Break was founded. And so I've been doing that for several years, you know, in between trying to, you know, do the acting thing while actually doing the acting thing and creating my own projects and getting the book off the ground. So when I decided to relaunch the book, my colleague who just convinced me to relaunch the book convinces me to record my own audiobook because I'm an actress. I played the 10 roles in the play. I could do the 20 roles on the voiceover, and I do vocal work every day anyways. Like I'm in shape, so to speak, you know, even though I did do more vocal training and stuff to get ready for it. I did it. I made some technical errors, had to throw the whole thing in the garbage, did it a second time. So it took about 5 months to record the whole thing twice. The same colleague is like, oh, now you can write a how-to book on how to record and publish your audiobook. And I did, because I'm already doing this consulting business where I'm explaining people the technical aspects of like how to get a film off the ground, how to get a theater production off the ground. Like I've been a teacher, I've run programs, I've been the performing arts director at different places, writing curriculum. So I'm like, okay, like this is still kind of in my wheelhouse. This isn't something that's like totally foreign to me. So then during the pandemic, 2 books under the Make Your Own Break umbrella came about. And one is how to do your audiobook, and the other one's how to master your virtual meeting. But also those both fall under like the performance coaching that I've already been doing all of these years, you know. So it, like everything, all roads lead to, you know, back to the one woman show. Because if I had never taken the reins to do that, I wouldn't have Make Your Own Break. I wouldn't have those other 2 books, one of which is also a #1 bestseller. I wouldn't have the novel. I wouldn't like it. It's amazing how deciding to do one thing that you're so reluctant to do and so daunting and it seems too much, you know, and then you just kind of open a floodgate.
I can definitely see that. Now, one question that I did want to ask is, with doing a one-woman show, and you get to a certain point, and I know you don't do it in the middle of the show, but after the show, would you be like, you know, this should be changed here, this could be different here? Have you?
Yeah. So, yes. So it's, as I'm sure you know, every time you look at a manuscript, you know, even after it's published, you still want to change things. And there's a great quote. I have to look up who said it. I don't remember who said it, but they say like art, a piece of art is never finished. You just at some point have to decide to abandon it. And you know, like it's so true, whether you're editing a film, whether it's like one extra brushstroke on a painting, changing, you know, punctuation, changing the form of a sentence. Like it's so hard to walk away.
Oh, yes, it's very true. I've actually gone through and reread some of my books, and it's like, oh, I want to change this. I want to change this. But it's like, maybe I should just let it go.
Yeah. So the rehearsal process was the most challenging for that, especially the first round of rehearsals, because that's when we were first finding its legs and finding the bones, you know, and like figuring out what we were trying to do with the story, you know. So that was challenging. And I'd come home crying, like, you know, at times, because it's like, how can I memorize lines when they change every rehearsal? you know, but I've been at off-Broadway show openings at huge theater companies put on by Pulitzer Prize winning writers, where they're in previews for the show. They're 2 weeks or a week away from opening, and the actors are standing on the stage with pages because the writer had been watching it for 3-4 nights and is like, this isn't working. I need to add this, or this scene needs to come out, or whatever. And especially with theater, there's several readings, several mountings, and several incarnations before something will get to off-Broadway or Broadway. You know, like you might be a resident at a company, or you might already have a track record of Tonys. That's another story. But, you know, but even those people go through several stages of a workshop, you know, even if they have funding. It's never just, you know, as you know, like with drafts of a manuscript, it's not like you ever just write a manuscript once and it's finished.
That's very true. Now, where can people find you at or get your books at? Can they find you online or?
Yeah, online.
Amazon?
So Amazon is the easiest way to find my books. They're all on Amazon. And so the novel is called Year of the What. That was the new title after I was censored. And then Make Your Own Break, How to Record and Publish Your Audiobook in 7 Simple Steps, or Make Your Own Break, How to Master Your Virtual Meeting in 7 Simple Steps. And I also have a website for each. So makeyourownbreak.com or yearofthewhat.com. And there's links on both of those sites directly to the book. If you're not in the US, it might be easier to go to yearofthewhat.com directly because it has a few different countries, the direct link.
Very good. Now, I do want to thank you for being on. I actually, knowing that it's a one-person show, that more intrigues me than anything. I'm probably going to end up getting this book and reading it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was fun. It was a challenge. I was hired to do a different one after mine. But in all honesty, for me personally, I don't think I would like to do another one. And it simply comes down to the fact that I'd like to play with friends.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, you know, aside from the fact any role is a challenge, any role, any piece of theater, none of it is easy. But it's just more fun when you get to feed off of other people's energy, and there's a whole bunch of like, you know, jokes backstage, and like there's just a whole other life to the production than when it's just kind of you by yourself.
Very true. Now, I do want to thank you for being on, and for everybody else, we will be on again Thursday with another conversation, and we also have SciPaCon coming up on Thursday night. We're going to be talking about their show, which is going to be March 31st through April 2nd. So everyone, until our next show, adio.